No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of WWE Crown Jewel 2022 from Saudi Arabia. Shout out to the early birds, Dustin Herrick, Adrian, Based Ash Ketchum. Caitlin is here. Adrian, Shanti, thank you all for tuning in early. Shanti sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, been up since 6 a.m. Hawaii time. I learned from watching this show, both the OC and Drew McIntyre need women on their sides. LOL. Now it's 9:40 a.m. beach time. Aloha. I'm envious of you, Shanti. I wish I could be there in Hawaii enjoying the waves, but I'm here recapping Crown Jewel. Let's get right into it. And by the way, for anybody watching this right now live, please spread the word. If you could go on Facebook or Twitter, share a link to this live stream, it would be very much appreciated. John sent in a $5 super chat, says, thank you for all your reviews. No DQ is the best. I very much appreciate that, John. I appreciate everybody tuning in and watching. Now, let's get into Crown Jewel. Our first match of the evening, Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. We kicked it off big to start off this show, I should say. It was pretty much what you would expect, though. I mean, it was every Brock Lesnar match you've ever seen. It started off with Lashley attacking Lesnar from behind and sending him into the steel steps. Heel turn for Bobby Lashley, perhaps? He was definitely getting booed. Brock Lesnar was the clear favorite in this match. But they were doing all of the typical Brock Lesnar spots, which was basically big move, big move, big move, spear, spear, spear. They did the spot where Lashley speared Brock Lesnar through the barricade. Problem is they've done that so many times now that it doesn't really mean anything. They've overdone that spot to death, in my opinion. And then Lashley got Lesnar back into the ring, hit another spear. Lesnar kicked out. Lesnar did get a little bit of offense. He started suplexing Lashley around, but he was selling his leg, and Lesnar was able to counter the hurt lock. Then they went back to the outside of the ring, and Lashley did his trademark send your opponent into the ring post, which he did to Lesnar. And then Lashley put on the hurt lock. Lesnar was trying to get out. He was struggling. Lashley kept it in. And then we had the Bret Hart, Steve Austin 1996 Survivor Series finish, where Lesnar got his feet up in the corner and then managed to fall backwards, landing on the mat with Lashley. And since Lesnar was on top of him, the referee counted 1, 2, 3, giving Brock Lesnar the win over Bobby Lashley. So by no means was it a decisive win. It was basically Lashley kicking Brock Lesnar's ass. Lashley was on the verge of winning, but then Lesnar managed to get him down for the 3 seconds, just long enough to pin him. Now, after the match, Lashley continued the attack on Brock Lesnar. So I'm thinking this was definitely a heel turn for Bobby Lashley, which I think is definitely the way to go. Lashley in interviews has teased the idea of the Hurt Business reuniting as a faction. I like it. I'm all for it. I think they should reunite the Hurt Business, and they're going to keep the feud going. If Bobby Lashley was going to lose, and let's face it, I think we all pretty much knew he was going to lose. It was unanimous with the No DQ Predictions League. Everybody picked Brock Lesnar. Lashley looked about as strong as possible in defeat, and now you can set up the Hurt Business versus Brock Lesnar, and they can do another match, do the third match in the series, which they tend to do with Brock Lesnar. Whether it's the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania, they wait that long. That remains to be seen. Match was not great, but I like how it played out with Lashley losing and setting up for the future. Now, Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Walter. I appreciate it. Says, say yes to no DQ, like, share, hashtag stick to my shtick. And that was a dumb ending. Why wouldn't be smart enough to let go of the hold when the referee is counting? Well, that's a good point. Same thing with Steve Austin back in the day. He had the $1 million dream. Sometimes the momentum just goes against you. And when you have a 300+ pound man on top of you, all of a sudden you might get the wind knocked out of you for a very brief moment in time. So I did not hate the finish. I know some people did not like it, but I was fine with it. I thought it protected Bobby Lashley in defeat. Michael sent in a $2 super chat, says Roman Reigns / Mr. Beast 6000 at WrestleMania 39. Book it, LOL. Thank you for the super chat. I have no idea who Mr. Beast 6000 is, but if he's even half as good as Logan Paul, might be a decent match. And Gareth Smith sent in a $10 super chat. Thank you for that, Gareth. I appreciate it. Says, I up, mate, loving these time zone differences and can be a part of the live stream. The PLE was very good, as was the main event. Who's next for Roman Reigns? We'll talk about that more later as far as possible opponents for the world champion. Stay tuned for that. And yeah, I'm really enjoying the earlier shows. I definitely appreciate them when we get them. Noon start time. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I can finish the stream, grab some dinner afterwards. Like, I love this. I prefer this way more than the late night pay-per-views. But yeah, it's different. I like it though. I'm a big fan of these shows. I say go to the UK more often. Do the Saudi Arabia shows. I'm totally cool with it. Caleb Jacobs sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Caleb. Says the Hurt Business as tag team champions again. Hey, never say never, right? You reform the group. You build them up strong. They're going to need some rehab as far as credibility goes, but you push them strongly for 6 months, then yeah, I would certainly not rule out them getting a run at the titles. Maybe the Usos won't be champions by then. Shanti sent in another $2 super chat. Thank you, Shanti. Says, Brock Lesnar was the first to start to be first to fly out. Yeah, that's Brock Lesnar's shtick, I feel, at this point, where if he's not on last, he's on first, so he can do his thing and then get the hell out of there. That is Brock Lesnar in a nutshell. I mean, guy's smart as far as I'm concerned. All right, so now we move on to the tag team titles up for grabs. Asuka and Alexa Bliss, the new champions, defending against Dakota Kai and Io Sky. Damage Control, women's tag team titles. Before the match, Asuka and Alexa cut a pre-match promo, and there was a little interruption on the television monitor from the Bray Wyatt logo. I guess they're teasing, will Alexa Bliss go back to being aligned with Wyatt? That remains to be seen. Anyways, on to the match, which I thought was solid, pretty standard tag team match, maybe slightly better than the Monday Night Raw match. Back and forth here, but pretty standard, where after a strong start from the faces, the heels get the upper hand for a while. Asuka was selling her knee. They targeted the knee. And then Alexa Bliss tagged in. She took down both Dakota and Io with a double drop kick, hit a tornado DDT to Dakota, but Io broke up the pin. Alexa hit a code red. Io kicked out of that. And then they did the Tower of Doom spot where all four were in the corner, and you had the double superplex / power bomb spot. Another spot, in my opinion, that is very overdone in wrestling, but it always gets the crowd pop, so they do it. That's why they do it, because it never fails. I've never seen them do that move and the crowd just sits there. They always stand up and react to that move. It's like the easiest thing. It's like a pull-apart brawl. Like, it's overdone to death, but the audience always eats it up. The live crowd always pops for it, so they do it. They keep doing it. So Alexa went for Twisted Bliss, but she was distracted by Io, and she was able to still go for the move. Dakota Kai got her knees up. Then all four were going at it. Alexa Bliss tried to hit it again, but then Nikki Cross showed up and attacked Alexa while the referee was distracted. And then Dakota Kai got the easy victory here. 1, 2, 3, Damage Control, regain the tag team titles. Match, I thought, was fine. Finish, I'm not a fan of the hot potato title changes. Now, somebody on Twitter brought up, well, back in the day, The Rock and Mankind exchanged titles back and forth, hot potatoing the world title, and everybody loved it. I didn't necessarily love it. I am not a fan of the constant title changes, especially when it just seems random and for no other reason than to just maybe pop a rating on TV for 1 week. Like, especially when the women's tag titles already don't have much credibility. When The Rock and Mankind are having these violent matches for a title that has a lot of prestige, that's different. When you have these titles that are struggling to have anybody care about them, and then you just flip-flop them around back and forth, not a big fan of it, to be totally honest with you guys. So not a fan of the finish and the title change. I mean, they shouldn't have even changed the titles to begin with. They should have just done the pay-per-view match and had the champions retain, my opinion. And Dr. Dakota Scorpio sent in a $2 super chat, says they're playing keep away with the tag titles, LOL. I agree with you, man. We need a solid run. Somebody needs to hold those titles for a good amount of time to make them credible. And then if you want to have a heated feud and the titles go back and forth a couple times, that's okay. But the titles need to mean something first before you do that. Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Walter. Why is Damage Control looking strong but not Bayley? Maybe we are getting Bayley kicked out of Damage Control and Kross can be the new leader. Problem with that is it would be a ripoff of Judgment Day with Edge forming the group and then getting kicked out. But we'll talk more about Bayley here in a few moments. And people are continuing to speculate on Sasha and Bayley. Apparently, they were added back to the Signature Open, which I'm not sure if that was a mistake or that was by design. I suppose time will tell. Sasha Banks is teasing that something big is coming. She posted on her Instagram and got all the fans riled up, so we'll see. Next up, we had Drew McIntyre versus Karrion Kross in a steel cage match. Match was solid, not a great cage match by any means. It was a pretty standard cage match where it would go back and forth and Kross would gain the upper hand, throw McIntyre into the steel cage. They did utilize the cage a little bit, which I like when they do that. They tried to escape back and forth a little bit here for a while. And Karrion Kross was doing some trash talking. And then he applied the cross jacket submission, but McIntyre countered that with a sleeper hold. And then here's where the stupid babyface syndrome kicks in, but it ultimately didn't matter in the outcome. So McIntyre was going for the Claymore, and Scarlett gets up on the cage, like the apron, where there's a very small area where she can get up there, and she's distracting him. And I'm thinking, she's inside or she's outside the cage. What is she going to do to you? Just hit the damn move. But he gets distracted, of course, and Karrion Kross takes advantage, hits the cross hammer, and tries to escape the cage, but McIntyre catches him up on the top, hits a big superplex, which I thought was maybe the highlight of the match. Good spot here. And McIntyre tried to escape the steel cage by going through the door, but Scarlett maced the referee and then maced McIntyre. Is anybody really surprised by this? The whole cage match is going to keep the competitors out of the ring, but of course they interfere. And of course, I'm sure that Attitude Era guy will be like, well, Kane showed up in the Hell in a Cell and everybody loved that. I mean, yeah, if you do it every once in a while, but how many times do we see this where there's interference in a cage match when the whole idea of the cage match is supposed to prevent interference? So I just laugh every time the announcers say, so in this cage match, we're finally going to get it one-on-one. And I'm like, dude, do you even watch your own show? Because everybody interferes every time. No exceptions, or almost no exceptions. Anyways, looked like McIntyre was done, but McIntyre managed to prevent Kross from escaping. And then Scarlett decided to lock the cage door. She grabbed the key, and McIntyre had to climb over the top. However, as he was doing that, Scarlett decided to unlock the cage door. Kross tried to get out. However, McIntyre did hit the floor first, and he picked up the win. So this was good. I mean, again, this was a finish that protected Kross in his loss. It was very close at the end, and ultimately, Scarlett screwed up. She locked the door, and it backfired. She tried to outsmart Drew McIntyre, and it backfired. So I was a fan of this finish. Kross did not look weak by any means losing this match. Good stuff here. McIntyre needed the win. I enjoyed it. Now moving on to the OC versus Judgment Day. 6-man tag team match. Michael Cole brought up the Bullet Club, which was interesting. But hey, it's the new era. You would never hear Bullet Club during the Vince McMahon era. Maybe we did and I missed it. But yeah, Bullet Club. He said professional wrestling several times. You had Priest and Gallows, the two big guys going at it. Things would break down with everybody in the ring. Judgment Day got the upper hand for a while. It was a pretty standard 6-man tag team match. I mean, about as average of a 6-man tag team match in this day and age. Nothing really special about it. You got the big hot tag. Anderson and Gallows went for the Magic Killer on Dominic, but Priest was able to stop it. Styles tagged in, did some of his big moves. Then things started to break down again. Everybody in the ring. Styles went for the phenomenal forearm, but guess what happened? Rhea Ripley attacked him while the referee was distracted. Now, back on Raw, you had the OC talking about how they need to handle this Rhea Ripley problem. They tease the idea that they need something to counteract Judgment Day and specifically Rhea Ripley. And guess what they had on this major pay-per-view? This is not a B show, despite what people want to say about it. This show brings in more money for WWE than WrestleMania, by far. Look at the numbers. This is a very lucrative deal in Saudi Arabia. This is arguably the biggest show of the year. Big money and lots of publicity for the show. So you would think, in storyline, you would think that AJ Styles and Anderson and Gallows would have a plan. They know Rhea Ripley is going to try something. Nothing. No backup. No help whatsoever. They had no game plan. What a bunch of morons. And I'm supposed to cheer these guys? So yeah. Interference from Rhea Ripley. Balor hits the coup de grace. Gets the win. This should have been the moment. They did the tease on Monday, and there's no follow-up. So what? When are they gonna do it now? Survivor Series? Random episode of Monday Night Raw? Yeah. I mean, they should not have done the tease on Monday if they had no intentions of having somebody show up here to even the odds. So yeah, that's my take on it. Match was okay, but it was just very average, skippable, not much noteworthy happening here. Now we move on. And yes, this is like AJ Styles getting hit with the low blows by Shin. He never learns his lesson. AJ Styles, what is wrong with you, dude? You never figure it out. The heels always screw with you, and it takes you forever. You get the same thing happening to you over and over, and you never learn your lesson. What's the deal, bro? God, they make AJ look like an idiot sometimes. All right, so now we move on to Braun Strowman versus Omos, which, if you set the bar very, very low, this was actually a pretty solid match. Like I went into this thinking this might be horrible, would probably be horrible actually, and it wasn't. It was okay for what it was. Omos had one of his better showings, maybe his best showing. I mean, it was basically a one-sided match. They did a little test of strength, and then Omos basically beat the crap out of Strowman. Was tossing him around the ring, hit him with a big boot, slammed him, did a couple of body slams, derailed the Strowman Express. Strowman got like one move in, knocked him to the outside of the ring with a clothesline, tried to do the Strowman Express, but Omos just bum rushed him. And then back in the ring, Omos charged at Strowman in the corner. Strowman moved. Omos hit the corner, and then Strowman power slammed Omos and got the 1-2-3 victory. I was a little surprised. I mean, I was not surprised at all by the outcome of this. I was surprised in the sense that Omos just beat the shit out of him, and then Strowman wins with one move. Like, I feel like they could have done more to Omos for him losing there. Maybe Strowman had to hit him with a couple of moves to beat him. Or maybe at least Omos gets one kick out or something. Nothing, just one power slam after being beat up forever. And that was that. Almost like a John Cena match back in the day where the heel would just beat down Cena forever. Cena hits the FU, and that's that. Caleb Jacobs with a $3 super chat. Thank you for that, Caleb. I appreciate it. Says, why not add Edge and Beth Phoenix to War Games? Well, maybe they will. Time will tell. We still don't know what they're going to do. But my feeling is it will be the Bloodline versus Team McIntyre, Team Kevin Owens, or something like that for Survivor Series. And then the women will have their War Games match. I do not think it's going to be the Judgment Day in a War Games match, but we'll see. Logic would tell you it's going to be the Bloodline in there, but anything's possible, I suppose. They may go in a different direction. We had oh, by the way, I really liked Omos's trash talking. He showed some personality, which was good. Hopefully it's not too little too late for him, because I felt like going in, this might be his last big hurrah, and then they move on to somebody else, especially now that Triple H is in charge. All right, so next up we had the Usos versus the Brawling Brutes. This match was for the unified WWE tag team titles. The Brutes had some new entrance music, which was fine. Nothing special, but nothing bad either, in my opinion. And they brought up how Jey Uso possibly broke his wrist. His whole arm was taped up. And this was a good match here. I enjoyed it. Brutes got the early advantage. Usos attempted to take a count-out loss, but they were stopped. And Usos gained the upper hand for a while. Then there was the hot tag. Ridge Holland did Sheamus's 10 beats. Butch came in, hit a moonsault to Jey. Jey kicked out. Usos regained control. They hit stereo top rope splashes to Butch, but Holland was able to break up the pin. Holland tagged in, hit the white noise to Jey, but Jey kicked out at the very last moment. And then all four guys went at it. Usos super kicked Holland off the apron, and then they finished off Butch with an avalanche 1D. I like that they did the avalanche 1D on the premium live event. No surprise here. Good match, predictable, but it was entertaining. And now the question is, will they lose to the New Day? This coming Friday, the New Day will attempt to stop the Usos from breaking the New Day's record as longest reigning tag team champions. Now we move on to Bianca Belair versus Bayley in a last woman standing match. This was an awesome performance from both ladies. They really killed it here. I love the outfits they have too, considering the rules for the women in Saudi Arabia. I really like how they come up with these elaborate outfits. They take advantage of the situation. And yeah, this was a really fun match. Bayley was trying to bust out the weapons early. She went for the kendo stick, unsuccessful, tried to use the chair, got it kicked into her. And Bayley and Bianca fought on the outside for a lot of the match. Bianca was placed in a chair, and Bayley came off the barricade with a clothesline. She grabbed a table and set up the table. Remember that. Bayley set up the table. Remember my rule. And then they continued to fight around ringside, and then they fought up by the stage. Bayley was trying to run away. Bianca caught up with her. They fought on the stage, and there was a production case. Bayley put Bianca in the case and tried to have the match won that way, but Bianca did get out of the case. I liked it. I liked it because it was a unique spot. And it's hard in these matches because there's been so many of them that it really is difficult to develop some unique spots. Bayley should have locked the case. She should have brought a master lock with her. Where's Chris Masters when you need him? Then Bayley went and got a golf cart. Yes, a golf cart. This reminded me of the 2020 Royal Rumble with Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. She tried to run down Bianca, but Bianca got out of the way. And then they fought on top of the golf cart. And Bayley was laid out on the golf cart. And Bianca got in the golf cart and drove the golf cart all the way down by the ring and the table that was set up. Bianca then grabbed Bayley from the golf cart and tossed her off onto the table, Table did not break. I am the table, guaranteed to be on Botchamania. Oh, 2021 Royal Rumble. Thank you, Caleb. And then Bianca power bombed Bayley through the table. Bayley, however, did get back up at the very last second, beating the 10 count. Walter Cruz sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Walter. Says, Bianca is one of the smartest baby faces, have to admit. Way smarter than AJ Styles, that's for damn sure. And thank you for the super chat. Match continued, and Bayley was laid out on a stack of chairs. Bianca tried to hit a 450 splash, but Bayley moved. Crash and burn for Bianca. She did beat the 10 count, though. Fight continued, and then Bianca hit Bayley with the KOD knee first onto a steel chair, and then Bianca took a ladder that Bayley introduced into the match, sandwiched Bayley in the ladder, put Bayley in the ladder in the corner, so Bayley was trapped and could not get to her feet at the count of 10. Smart move there by Bianca. This reminded me a little bit of when John Cena used the duct tape on Batista in a last man standing match. But yeah, worked very effectively here. Bayley could not answer the 10 count. And still, your Raw Women's Champion, Bianca Belair. I enjoyed it very much. And there was that super chat earlier. Could Bayley possibly be kicked out of her own group? I don't think it's going to happen just because it would be the same thing as Edge being kicked out. But yeah, Bayley comes up short again in her attempt to beat Bianca Belair. But I'm not really surprised because I felt like with Charlotte coming back and Rhea Ripley possibly being a contender, there's more challengers for Bianca Belair at this stage of the game that are stronger to go up against her than challengers for Bayley. Like, who do you have? Candice LeRae, they really haven't built her up much. You just don't have a lot of options. And like I said on the predictions video, Becky Lynch, my gut feeling is she's going to resurface on SmackDown, and they're going to do Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania 39. That's my prediction at this point. But I presume that this feud is now over between Bianca and Bayley. The game is on 100. Sent in a $2 super chat. Says, looks like Bianca title reign ends with Charlotte. Not necessarily. Could end up being Rhea. I would prefer Rhea Ripley personally, but to be honest with you, I would not be shocked if it was Charlotte that ended the title reign. Then we had Bray Wyatt showing up for a promo, and this could have been on TV. Did really not need to be on the premium live event. Did not really add anything to the show. It was a SmackDown segment. It was just another promo. Talked about how he's from a prestigious wrestling family. Did not name the family. He is the son of IRS, for those of you that are not aware, which is probably nobody at this point. But Bray Wyatt said that some of you might not know. There you go. Bray Wyatt said that he wanted to be greater than the rest of them. Crowd chanted, "Yes, you are." Wyatt said that he ended up making a monster out of himself. He ended up wearing that mask with pride. He no longer felt pain or felt fear while wearing the mask. And now nobody loves him. He doesn't even love himself. And people just love the idea of what he is capable of. But he said that doesn't have to be the ending to his story. He wants to rewrite the end to his story. Then all of a sudden, Uncle Howdy interrupted and, said all this stuff. Uncle Howdy's like the devil on the shoulder type of deal here, saying that Wyatt will give in because he knows how good it feels. And if Wyatt's worried about the aftermath, he should never have taken the mask off. I like the promo, but it did not need to be on the premium live event, in my opinion. Guess it's a little break from the action, but not necessary. All right. Main event time. As Mark Henry would say, it's time for the main event. Logan Paul challenging Roman Reigns for the Universal title, the unified Universal title. Logan had his big entrance. There was a platform set up, and he lowered himself down from this tall platform. Pyro going off. Roman Reigns came out there with Paul Heyman. No bloodline, but you guys damn well know that doesn't mean they're not going to show up during a Roman Reigns title defense. We all know better. Jake Paul was not out there initially. We thought maybe he would be in the corner, but he stayed in the back, at least for the time being. Now, Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Walter. I appreciate it. It says, I'll be the first to say I really don't like Logan, but gave that dude his credit. He has trained his ass off, takes it seriously, and it shows. Kudos. They had their feeling out process in the beginning, and Roman Reigns was getting the best of Logan, but then Logan started out wrestling Roman, fireman's carry. Reigns went to the outside to regroup, and Reigns got back in the ring. Logan did a leapfrog, hit Reigns with a hip toss, sent Reigns back to the outside of the ring. Roman Reigns getting frustrated. They got back in the ring, and Logan Paul busted out a buckshot lariat. Shades of Hangman Adam Page. 100% better than CM Punk's buckshot lariat, and dare I say, better than Adam Page's buckshot lariat. Like, he actually had a lot of momentum with it, and just the pure athleticism really showed when he did this move. As Walter said, like, you really have to admire Logan Paul. The dude is just phenomenal athlete, and he gets professional wrestling. He knows what he's doing. Everything he did looked so smooth in there. He comes off like a guy that's been doing this for many years. And keep in mind, this is only his third WWE televised match. But yeah, this was awesome. Reigns eventually got the upper hand, and Reigns was doing his trash talking. Logan had tried to do this springboard, I guess, phenomenal forearm, and Reigns caught him with an uppercut. Logan got some serious hang time, and yeah, he was down, but then he made a comeback, and he hit Reigns with a gut-wrench suplex, hit a blockbuster off the top, but Reigns was able to kick out of that. And then Logan countered the Superman punch, hit the lucky punch that they were talking about for weeks, hit another Superman punch. However, Roman Reigns did kick out. And then they ended up on the outside of the ring again. Logan Paul laid out Reigns on the table and then grabbed his cell phone from his entourage, climbed the top rope with his cell phone, and did a frog splash off the top rope, putting Reigns through the table while holding the cell phone. Dude is insane, but he pulled this off. I'm like thinking to myself, you're getting a little too bit cocky there, man. But he pulled it off. He did the big frog splash while holding the phone. Clean as hell. I mean, damn, this guy is an athlete. Check out this clip if you did not see it. Torvik says the video is going to be viral for the rest of time. Apparently, it's on WWE's Instagram page. So after you're done watching this, go check it out. So then at this point, we had the shenanigans. The Usos came down to check on Roman Reigns. Then they went after Logan's entourage. They beat up the entourage. And that's when Jake Paul's music hit. Jake Paul came down to the ring, attacked the Usos. Then we had Solo Sikoa show up. Solo came down, and before they could go at it, referees ran down, officials ran down. Logan Paul did a dive over the top rope onto the Usos, got back in the ring, but that little momentarily lapse in judgment to go out there after the Usos. I guess he was trying to look after his brother because the brother was dealing with Solo. So Logan was looking after his brother, and that ultimately was his downfall, because as soon as he got back into the ring, bam, Roman hit him with the Superman punch, finished him off with the spear, 1, 2, 3. I expected this 100%, but they did a hell of a job here. Logan Paul absolutely killed it. Fantastic performance. The dude gets wrestling. Awesome job here from him. Whether you like the guy or hate him, he can perform at a very high level. And if he wants to keep doing wrestling, sky is the limit for him. David Estevez with a $2 super chat says they should do Gunther versus Paul. Now, if Logan Paul can survive a beating from Gunther and wants to keep doing wrestling, then he just might be the toughest SOB on the planet. Awesome main event, totally delivered. And I like how really the bloodline did not interfere in the traditional sense of attacking Logan when the referee's distracted. They were checking on Roman's well-being, and then they went after the entourage, and then Jake Paul came out and it escalated. So I like that they did something different as opposed to the usual outside interference. I liked the creative aspect of that. And yeah, the work in the ring was fantastic. Overall, show was really good. I might have liked last year's Crown Jewel better, or even Elimination Chamber, but this was third for sure. Very good show. Middle of the card was okay. Nothing out of the ordinary. But the last two matches really delivered. So if you're going to watch anything from this show, Bianca and Bayley, they killed it. Main event was fantastic. Both of those matches, I mean, it's a tough call. I guess I would say the main event, but Bianca and Bayley was easily the second best match of the night. So the last two matches kicked ass big time. Cody Doe sent in a $5 super chat. I like that username. Says, props to Roman Reigns, a true professional. Many sell like that for a celebrity. Bloodline versus Paul family at Survivor Series. Well, they could do a tag match. I don't think they're going to do it at Survivor Series, or maybe Logan and Jake join up with Drew McIntyre's team for War Games. Like, that's a possibility. They could do a tag match down the line, maybe Royal Rumble, maybe sometime in 2023, the Usos versus the Paul brothers for the tag team titles. Definitely a possibility. I give the show a B+. Last two matches were A quality. Undercard was not great, but wasn't terrible either. All in all, very successful show. I know people have their mixed feelings about the Saudi Arabia shows. It is what it is. Every time, like, people for 300 days of the year, people will be like, yeah, WWE's awesome. And then when the Saudi Arabia show comes up, this is terrible. They're working with a country that has the worst human rights violations in the world, but you keep watching. So if you are that morally outraged by it, don't give WWE money. Bottom line. I mean, it's as simple as that. But people complain about it and then they keep watching. Don't know what else to say. I mean, I'm not a fan of it, but like I said, it's them doing business and they try to justify it in the way they can. And that's just the way it is. I'm not going to stop watching because of it. So There you go. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. I very much appreciate it. Again, if you liked the video, you could still share it. People can watch it on demand. But the most important thing, the most helpful thing you can do is click that like button on YouTube. And if you're watching this on Facebook or Twitter, go to youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ or at NoDQ, DOTCOM with the at on YouTube. And subscribe, click on the like button, and just tell a friend, word of mouth about the channel in general. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. You can check out the detailed results, and I'm sure more news and notes will come out about the show. Have a great week, everybody. And last plug here before I go, this Tuesday, celebrating NoDQ's 24th birthday and the 20-year anniversary of NoDQ Media. We'll be doing the greatest wrestling Q&A ever. I hope to see you guys there for that. And don't forget to say yes to NoDQ.com. And I will see you all next time.